Hello.
And welcome back to the Yellow Line Studio, an immersive art studio experience for kids. How old?
I think ages 6 to 13
That
sound
sounds good. But if, you're an adult but your mind is somewhere in the 16 to 13 range, this is perfect for you as well.
Definitely.
Perfect for anyone. We're looking for kids who are creative.
Imaginative.
Do you have any others?
Bold.
Bold. We love bold. And I have a hunch that those kids right over there are all of those things.
Definitely.
My name is Botticelli.
And I'm Donatello.
And welcome to your project, Fly with Chagall. Do you ever have dreams?
Well, yes, I do. Actually, last night I had a dream that large cabbages were rolling down a hill, but it was a perpetual hill forever, and I could never escape.
It's amazing the things that your brain does. I simply would never have ever thought about that.
Nope.
Me, what some might call a normal person, I often dream about flying.
Flying. That's kind of cliche, I think.
Cliche as it might be, it does remind me of our project today.
It does? What's our project today?
Our project today, thank you for asking so much, Donatello. I really appreciate it. I feel like I'm on, Good Morning America. Our project today, Donatello, is called Fly with Chagall.
Fly with Chagall. Chagall. Why does that name sound familiar to me?
Well, I think it's because his book is literally right in front of us. That might be why he's, sounding familiar to you.
What book is that?
Oh, thank you so much for asking again, Donatello.
Great questions today.
Great questions.
Jinx. Come on. She can't speak. I'm going to take over this project now. So today, this is the Bible that Marc Chagall illustrated. It's parts of the New Testament. And we're going to be using those illustrations as influences for today's work. Botticelli.
Thank you so much, Donatello, for not completely hijacking what I was going to say, which was that color, in my personal opinion, can change the whole way you see the world. Like, if the entire world was blue, could pigs fly?
I don't know about that one. That's a bit extreme, but maybe this cow could jump over the moon.
Once in a blue moon, that's been known to happen.
Well, it does.
Anywho, I think that if people could turn upside down, the world would be a completely different place. Everything is bizarre, abstract. Could music fill the air? I guess it kind of already does when you think about it. But I think the world could get pretty wacky if we start to see through a different colored lens.
And I think Marc Chagall knew exactly what would happen.
I think he did. So let's give it a try with a project of our own. Does that
Let's
sound
do
fun?
it. Let's fly with Chagall.
Good morning, Yellow Line, and welcome back. We're going to talk today about what's our topic today?
Our topic right now, currently, we're going to come up with the materials.
Breaking news. But before we do materials, we got to know where we're going to put our materials.
Of course.
We've got to have the perfect art studio space. Now, what are you going to need for a good art studio space?
Well, I think you're going to need room to get creative and messy.
And messy?
And messy, because you never know what could happen. Your imagination could explode.
All over the place. Wouldn't that be so messy? But
So
a good
messy.
kind of messy. A good kind of messy. So maybe double check with a parent to make sure that the space is one you can get messy in. And you want to have anything else?
Well, I think you might need a window if possible, because the world is your oyster.
The world is your oyster, and natural light is great lighting. Anything like fun or optional we could bring?
Well, of course. The possibilities are endless. But you could always have a sign that's a studio. We have an on-air sign right over there behind the camera.
Oh, yeah?
And you might also want some music, a speaker.
Yes.
Now,
when you have music, it is important to note that your art flag has got to fly free. Music, art flag, they go right together.
Now, what are we going to do with the parents? This helps set us up, but what after that?
I think we should kick them the heck out.
Kick them out. There's too many people in the
Kick them
studio.
out. Too many people in the studio. Although, if you want, a friend is always helpful when you're drawing. You need your You need your co-anchor.
Friends are also often smaller than your parents, so they'll fit.
Right. Precisely. So now that we figured out where we're going to be, what are we going to need?
Well, if I remember correctly, for today we're going to need some sketch paper.
Right. And also some watercolor paper.
Yes, of course.
And also some blue tiles of paper. Now, you can use any kind of colored paper if you've got some construction paper. Just good old-fashioned blue paper. Square tiles are fun. You can always cut some construction paper along the top to make it into a square tile, because that's really the shape and style we want to go for.
Of course, lots of paper today. We'll also need some watercolor paint.
Very interesting.
Wasn't there something else that was supposed to go with this watercolor paint?
I think it's a brush. And also, watercolor paint, you want to look for something that has like a dark blue or indigo color. You can also use a blue or indigo ink if you're really fancy and you like to write letters and you have ink, just lying around.
With this watercolor paper, you're also going to need some water.
Yes, feel free to use an old yogurt container, whatever you have around. A mug, perchance, just not like a mug you want to drink out of afterwards. We do not advise. We tried it once. Did not go well.
Now you know why I am the way I am.
It all makes sense.
But we're also going to need, I think, we have pastels here in the studio.
Yes.
You can use pastels, oil pastels specifically.
Specifically, that's important.
Yes, but if you don't have oil pastels, you can always use just regular crayons that you might have lying around the house.
You can use crayons for this?
You can use crayons.
Oh my god, I love crayons so much.
Crayons are very fun.
Love the big box.
Of
Smell
course,
of fresh
the smell.
crayons.
It brings back so many memories.
So many memories. Okay, so I think that's everything we need except, optionally, well, not optionally actually, you're gonna need your imagination.
That's never optional.
And some inspiration. If you have some pictures of Chagall lying around, that would be great. You can also look on the internet. That's totally all good. Some toys or little things to inspire you. So let's grab some old things to make something new. And always, always,
just be you. Welcome back.
Welcome back to step one. Now let's get cracking. Step one is only going to require your imagination.
Your noggin.
Your noggin. What's going on inside your head today, Donatella?
Well, today I see ravioli monsters.
Ravioli monsters.
I see ducks.
Ducks.
With teeth.
Teeth.
And I see
I don't like ducks with teeth. I don't like that.
Botticelli's square head.
Well, that must really be in your dreams, because we know that's not a reality. Speaking of things that are totally not reality, today's project, you're going to think of things that are totally not real. So like in your world, a dog is tiny, but in your imagination, it could be the size of Pluto. In your imagination, the world around you could be completely orange.
Orange?
The sky could be orange.
The sun could be in orange.
I think that's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. So,
like my future.
Sure. We're courteous here on the show. So inside your own head, let's throw away realism for today. Because realism, this is this. Mr. Robot Rad is always Mr. Robot Rad. But in my head, he can be something completely different. So just take some time, gather your materials, and mull over your own creativity.
The possibilities are endless. Just go. Yes. Go.
Welcome back. Thank you for observing our commercial break. Very interesting stuff over there. Now, back to this. So, step two, you're going to want to get out your sketch paper, like Mr. Donatello over here, and start sketching up some stuff. Can you show us some of the stuff you've sketched up today, Donatello?
Why, of course I can. So today, I started off with just a normal dog,
Dogs, great.
I
love it.
started with the reality so I can go into the weirdness, right?
Perfect. And we do know that you are weird. You're very good at that.
Oh, yes. And then I had a very tiny house.
Very tiny house.
Like little fairies. Little fairy house.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Diverting away from reality here.
Diverting away. And then I followed up with a duck with angel wings.
much better than a duck with teeth. I did not like visualizing that.
Well, yeah, I wanted to calm it down a little bit, make it a little less scary. And on the vein of being less scary, I started out with this person with lobster claws, but then I realized they looked more like pistachios.
Gonna be real with you, Donatello, pistachios for hands is a little bit more disturbing to me than lobster claws with hands. But I'm glad you're tapping into your creative side. So you guys at home, what I'd like you to do is draw 3 animals, realistic or completely out of your imagination. It doesn't have to be a real animal. People, musical instruments. Maybe you can play your banjo in space a little bit.
That sounded more like a guitar, but
We'll get there.
We're working on it.
You know, in my unrealistic world, banjos sound like guitars, so it's perfect. You could drop some objects. Could you, mic, please?
Mic you? Oh,
Yeah,
excuse me.
Yes, thank you very much. So what I've drawn is a seashell to put into my world, and
Very realistic.
right? But the clock, you see, has a bunch of different numbers. I guess you could call me Dolly. Just kidding, my name's Botticelli. I'll be here all week. Anyway, so you guys at home, just get your sketch paper and start drawing animals, people, objects, whatever you
Loosen up.
fancy. Loosen up.
Hello and welcome back. So, what are we doing today, Botticelli? Botticelli, what are we doing today?
You start?
Again, this is like the 3rd time you've done
Hey
this.
guys, how's it going? And welcome back to step 3. Today, what are we?
Okay, so today we're
How
going to
about you guys look at a book? Isn't that a fun idea?
Okay, but specifically, we could look at Marc Chagall's illustrated Bible, like you were so engrossed in.
That is true. Engrossed?
Engrossed, captivated, she was like stuck in it. She wasn't paying attention.
Thank you. I was educating myself. And now would be a great time for you to go to the computer if you don't happen to have some Marc Chagall lying around and look up some pictures because he tells really interesting stories with his paintings.
My family's got some good stories too.
Ooh, like what?
Well, one time my mom was driving back from New York and there was a snake in her car.
There were snakes?
I was going to say multiple, but in fact there was only one. It just seemed like there were multiple.
What did she do?
She screamed.
Oh.
And my dad drove.
Understandably.
Yeah.
So, I've had some families in my story as well, and some stories in my family as well. For example, one of my friends used to tape flowers to his ear. It was wacky. You know, it happens.
Yeah.
So, after you're done looking at your Marc Chagall, either in book form or on the computer, take a second and write out a story that your family tells over and over again. Maybe a funny story about a family member or a ghost story you tell around the fire.
Ghost story? Those are a little scary. Maybe you should say something a little funnier, you know?
Okay, fair enough.
Well,
We don't need to freak out Donatello today.
Not today, please. This is gonna be so
Much
fun! Okay, so Botticelli, now that we have our story, what's the next step? Sorry, she needs a microphone. Yeah, you know.
Thank you so much for asking, Donatello. So, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your blue paper out and use the drawings that you already did for some inspiration and transform the story you just wrote down into a drawing. Yes, you heard me right. Transform your story into a drawing. So how did you do this, Donatello?
I am so glad you asked. Well, I'm doing the snake in the car story. I don't know how well you can see it because blue paper is hard to draw on and be seen from a distance. But there is a large snake on the right side of the page, and it's a main focus in the painting, drawing. And my mom, who I've decided to give a pistachio as a head, is screaming right next to it, but she is just a pistachio in the face.
How deeply disturbing.
I think it's very expressive. Well, and what did you do that is so not disturbing, huh?
Thank you so much for asking. So what I've done is I've kind of taken inspiration from the story of my friend who used to wear flowers. From my friend who used to wear flowers. From my friend who used to wear flowers taped to his ear. Again, hard to see, blue paper, but ear, flower. And I've elaborated on that story to include my clock drawing just for some kind of interesting effects. And then there's a village of tiny people who have come to worship my friend's ear. So I've kind of taken liberties with the initial story to kind of transform it into more of a, what's the word for like an old story that kind of tells a tale?
An epic.
Exactly. An epic, a fable. So kind of transforming my story into something more grandiose.
And who would disagree that these are not ears to worship?
I don't know what you're talking about. I was talking to a friend of mine. A friend of mine.
I know I'm your only friend, it's okay.
You know what? I think it's time for them to get started on doing this step.
We'll see you in the next time.
Hello, and welcome back to our show. So, the next thing you're going to want to do is to go over what you've already done in pencil with oil pastel or crayon. Black is great, but either pastel or crayon works perfectly. And now you can see my story a little bit more clearly. I know before it was pretty difficult, but once again, I've just done all these little people kind of worshiping this ear. Again, gravity, we're not realistic. So gravity can be in any which way. So there's a person hanging upside down. The whole, you can rotate it every time you do it, if you want. And so just go over what you've done in pencil with a little bit of pastel. Yeah, pretty simple. What do you got going on over there?
Well, I really took the lack of gravity thing seriously, and now that you can see it better, I have the snake floating. It is a major player in this story, and so it's taking up half of a page.
So you could say it's flying.
It's a flying snake. I might even add wings, because why not? That's a great suggestion. This is why you need a friend.
This is why you need a co-ink.
And then I have my mom's floating pistachio head.
Very important.
And
honestly, it looks less disturbing than I thought it would.
I know. It's because I'm such a great artist. And then I decided to add the element of the car and the steering wheel.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you guys give it a go, and we'll be back real soon. Donatello, as thick as those beads are, I think we're going to need the other side of those paintbrushes for this next step.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so, do you know what the next step is?
Well, we're going to have to do some painting if we're using
We're going to have to do some painting. So what you're going to want to do is grab your watercolors or your ink if you happen to have ink. And you're going to want to find kind of an indigo color. It's actually my favorite color.
Indigo, yeah.
Which is a mix of kind of dark blue and purple. And you're going to want to take it and wash it over your whole painting. So, well, drawing for now, it will become a painting soon. And what you're going to start to notice is that in the areas where you have oil pastel or crayon, the watercolor will be repelled. So it's going to show up really clearly, like you can see here.
Now, what if I don't want to just use blue and purple?
Then you have to get out.
What? No, that doesn't sound like a yellow line.
I'm just kidding. It's the yellow line. You can do whatever you want. It's your art studio. So if you want to get another piece of white paper, like watercolor paper that we had you grab in the beginning, you can do that and do the whole project over again with colorful oil pastels. You could even add color to this one if you want to color in what your people are doing before you paint it. Also, it's a little crazy. You could use different color watercolors if you want to.
That's
you know, this is just a starting point for whatever you want to do.
Simply the technique.
Simply the technique, yes. So once you're done kind of painting over your whole painting in different colors, or dark blue if you kind of want to stick to the book. If there's a little bit too much of watercolor, you can wipe it a little bit with a paper towel, but you do not have to if you feel like you've got it just right.
And your paper may curl. That's totally normal.
Totally
Just a thing
normal.
paper does.
If you use watercolor paper, that'll happen less, but
Mhm.
with this kind of paper, this happens. And then you kind of have a beautiful, epic masterpiece.
Yeah.
You could even make a series of them to tell a whole story, kind of like
Chagall did.
did.
I think at the end of this, though, you should choose your favorite color in oil pastel and sign it, of course.
How could I?
You gotta
almost
sign
forget?
it.
Okay, what's your favorite color?
Well, my favorite color is purple, but
I'm
since
sorry,
we're using...
I can't hear the purple in your voice.
Sorry. My favorite color is purple.
Oh, you're very well.
It's very hazy purple.
Very hazy purple, yes. Colors have accents, folks. Do not forget.
However, because we're using a purple slash kind of bluey
What
paper,
about a light purple?
a light purple, what kind of accent would that be?
Very, very quiet. Light purple is very tiny and quiet. Yes, there we go.
Yes. How about you?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I think I'm gonna try and use some yellow, because oil pastel will show up
Yeller.
on the dark paper, even if it's a light color.
Well, her yeller may be British, but my yeller is very country American.
Very country. Actually, perhaps you're right. Perhaps this is more of a southern, like a yellow.
Yeller?
Yeller.
Yeller.
Okay, and what
Yeller.
did you sign on your paper?
Well,
Right over there. Let me sign
I
that
done
one.
did sign my name in
That is
cursive.
not your name, friend.
Oh.
You've signed a complete stranger's name. Your name is
Well,
Donald
actually, little did you know,
Taylor. No.
my real she's a terrible friend.
No.
Yes,
Incorrect.
no,
I'm
she's
so
a
sorry.
terrible friend.
I'm so sorry that he's lying to you over here. So
Let
here's
me
my yellow
explain myself.
Botticelli. Okay, explain yourself.
My real
Donatello.
name is Xander Donatello, artistic man.
Now, why would you go ahead and lie to these nice folks?
I didn't lie.
I think you
I had
sure
some
did.
wacky
I
parents.
think you sure did because your name is Donatello.
See, well, I never did done tell you.
You know what? I'm sorry. Sick and tired of this argument. I need to get out of here. You know where I'm gonna go?
She's gonna go to the studio because that's what
I'm
she does
gonna
when
go to
she's
the
coming.
studio. And you better come along too, okay? So grab your colors, grab your accents, and let's head to the studio.
Whoa!